Hi, I'm Mark Manis, Director of Instruction at the Golf Center at the Highlands. And today I want to talk to you about bunker basics. Those things we do to make sure we get the ball out of the bunker in one. We're dealing with greenside bunkers here, so we're going to keep this fairly simple. I know for a fact not many of you get in and do much practice in the bunker. Our bunkers are rarely busy. I had no trouble finding a time with no one in here so I could do this. I used to practice 2 hours a week in the bunker. I became very good in this environment. That's a lot of time to ask anybody to spend, but the reality is, if you're out here to practice, why aren't you spending at least a few minutes in here remembering your basics, making sure that you can make a consistent divot getting the ball out of the bunker? So what is it I want you to focus on when you get in here? 4 things. Number 1, this is a greenside bunker shot. I know you're not going to practice a bunch, so don't do anything crazy. I hear people talk about get you a real open stance because you open the club face. I hope you watched last week's video, because when I talked about dialing the club face, I talked about the fact the ball goes where the sand goes, not where the face is looking. The reality is you need to take a relatively square stance. What's your normal stance look like? Don't get carried away here. A little bit open's fine if that's comfortable to you, but a reasonably square stance is what we want. So when I get in here, I'm taking my normal address position. Number 2, I want you to dig your feet in. Notice I couldn't even wait, I just did. But I want you to remember, do this, toes first. In other words, shuffle your toes a little bit. Doing that will get your feet or your weight on your feet a little forward. Next, I want you to make sure your weight gets left. This is an important one to me. If your weight is not on your lead leg and you're falling back as you're hitting this shot, guess where you're going to enter the sand? If you enter the sand at all. Probably back here. That could be a bit of a problem. Sand's heavy. If you have to take a pound of sand out of this bunker and all of a sudden the divot's way back there, you're going to take 2 pounds of sand if you're going to slide under the ball. By the time you get to the ball, there's no speed. So what I want is, I want your weight to be a little bit left, and the way I want you to get there is I want you to feel like you're kind of pointing your knees to the left. So we've got regular address position basically for posture. We've got our feet dug in, toes first, and we're going to get our weight a little left. Once we've done that, the last thing we have to do, dial the club face to the ball, by the way, but now we need to make a minimum 9 o'clock backswing. What do I mean by that? You got to get your left arm at least parallel to the ground. For most of you, a little longer than that would be okay. So it would look something like this. That swing got somewhere up in here. My hands were shoulder high, maybe a tiny bit higher as it looks through the camera here. I made a reasonably full swing. When I take this divot, pretty good sized divot, it's about 8-9 inches long, probably 1.5 inches deep in the center. When I take that divot, I'm removing about a 16-ounce cup of sand. That's about a pound of sand. If I don't have some speed, this ball isn't going anywhere. The ball's just a big pebble of sand on that. So when I do this, I want to make sure I have some force. To practice this, I want you to do the line drill. What I mean by that is I want you to draw a line in the sand, old movie reference. I then want you to draw 3 lines across it. When you do this, we're going to have these little corners, crossroads of these lines. That's where I want you to presume there's a ball. And all I want you to do is practice taking this address position. Feet, toes first, little lean of the knees. Open the club face, make a swing. Look at your divot. Where did it enter? Where did it exit? Where was the ball? Practice it until you get consistent about it. And look for the low point of the divot being under where the ball would be. Hopefully you're going to enter the sand within 3 or 4 inches of the ball. Not any closer, not really any farther. That will give you the best opportunity to move this roughly pound of sand forward enough to get the ball out of the bunker. Practice that first. Make sure the divot's in the right place, and then start to put some balls in there. If you practice this drill, take care of those fundamentals, I know you'll do better in the bunker.